Tesla is getting added to the S&P 500 in December. At this point, this shouldn't be news to anyone, since everyone has been talking about it. In this video, I want to talk about investing in the S&P 500 versus single stocks or other index funds, and share my mindset on investing in Tesla moving forward. As you know, the S&P 500 consists of 500 companies. The crazy thing is that the top 10 holdings account for almost 30% of the entire index, with the top holdings consisting of disruptive tech companies. When Tesla gets added, it will account for 1% of the entire index, making it the largest company to ever be added to the index. Warren Buffett is a big fan of retail investors investing in the S&P 500. If you look at his holdings in his company, Berkshire Hathaway, he has many different companies, making it very similar to an index fund. But notice that Apple makes up almost 48% of his holdings. If you look at ARK Invest portfolio, Tesla makes up almost 10% of the entire ARK K ETF. The only reason it doesn't take up more is because they don't allow for any one company to take up more than 10% of the index. Tesla has been a big reason behind ARK's recent success as an actively managed ETF. The bottom line is that big institutional investors need to keep a diversified portfolio to protect their investors. And small retail investors like you and I have more freedom of choice. I don't understand why retail investors think they need to diversify like an index fund. When you pick too many stocks, generally your return rate will decrease and will mirror the returns of an index fund. I think the main reason why investors are afraid to concentrate instead of diversify is that they have a fear of volatility or possibly even losing everything. Take Yahoo for example. They were added to the S&P 500 in 1999 and its stock price surged 64%. But unfortunately, they were massively disrupted by a company that was a startup at the time. This is a real example of why people think that single stocks are too risky or volatile, and that index funds are a safer bet. This is the S&P 500 during the COVID-19 crash, where it dropped by almost 34%. And this is during the 2008 housing market crash, where it dropped 51%. This means that if you had $100,000 invested in the S&P 500 before the crash, at the very bottom, your account would show a balance of $48,730. And although it can be a very disturbing sight to see your money go away in the blink of an eye, I wanted to mention this to illustrate the point. You don't lose money unless you sell at the bottom. Hold strong and it will go back up over time. The same can be said for disruptive tech stocks like Tesla, Amazon, Apple, Alphabet, and the ETF ARK K. The difference is that the returns are much greater when you invest in disruptive companies compared to the S&P 500 or value stocks. Take Tesla for example. Rather than use a shotgun method or choosing a bunch of different companies just for the sake of diversifying, I'm more of a sniper. I choose my companies very carefully, do extensive due diligence, and when everything checks out and I can see them being a powerhouse for many years, I execute. My portfolio results speak for themselves, as my return rate is about 51% in the last year. Compare this with the S&P 500 returning around 11% in 2020, and with an average return rate of 10% per year. I cannot justify traditional index fund investing. In an interview with the Air Force Association, Elon Musk was asked about how his companies are so innovative. He explained that there is an incentive structure for innovation, where trying and failing equals minor consequences, trying and succeeding equals significant rewards, and not trying equals major negative consequences. Basically, you will be fired. He was also asked about protecting their intellectual property so they could not be copied by their competition. As a surprise to many, Elon said that Tesla has open sourced all of their patents, so anyone who wants to build electric vehicles can have access to them. And in order to protect your intellectual property, you just have to have a higher rate of innovation than everyone else. This means that other companies will be copying something that they did years ago. The bottom line is that with their constant innovation being heavily ingrained in their company culture, Tesla will not be disrupted. So what's my strategy? I will continue to dollar cost average in a Tesla stock every month, just like I've been doing for the past year. I plan on holding a stock for 10 years or more, and I will let compound growth do its job. Tesla being added to the S&P 500 does not change the fundamentals of the company, but will force more indexes to buy in. Since there are many long-term holders of the stock already, the increased demand for the shares will cause a decreased supply, which will drive up the stock price. Will this matter long term? Probably not, but it definitely won't hurt. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch this video. Please leave a comment below, like the video, and subscribe if you like what you see.